for like Instagram, TikTok to go check out Mothman Defense.
Okay.
So, all right. Take it away.
All right.
It's the first time we've been in the studio for a minute.
Yeah, for a big minute.
Yeah.
We've been, especially me, I've been out in the woods a lot.
Yeah, me too. I think I've already been in the woods more this year than the entire time last year, just because of timing and work and all that other
coaching and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So far this year, it's the 2025 archery season, or deer season in West Virginia.
What are we, a month in?
Month in.
As of yesterday.
We are 1 month in. Super excited. We have some boomers on camera.
I'd say we got like 4 or 5.
Funny enough, they don't like daylight. Like
No.
everybody else's deers.
Not at all. And I'm sure that hurricane weather's about to have an effect.
Yeah. But thankfully, God bless, I have punched 3 tags so far this year.
All urban hunting, so good job. Good job.
All urban hunting, all does. But it has given me a lot of insight. A lot of kind of things that I need to work on. One of the big topics that I wanted to talk about would be mid-season complacency. And that's kind of like a mouthful, but I think it has a deep meaning. We practice all year.
Yeah.
Like we, from day one, even from the end of season, we still shoot our bows. However, for some reason, and myself included, as soon as season starts, I stop shooting. I start focusing on hunting.
Yep.
And believe it or not, guys, archery is a perishable skill, which means you need to practice it.
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing with this, which we'll talk about a little bit later for Mothman Defense. However, it's a perishable skill.
It is unloaded, by the way.
Yes, it's completely unloaded. No magazines out of it. No rounds in the chamber. If you do not practice and you do not put yourself in situations, you will miss when that time comes.
Yeah.
And I've had that done this season. I have missed. I have taken a shot at a deer, which I'm sure you guys saw. That was episode 1 or 2.
Urban episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yep. Well, technically you've shot a deer in every episode.
I did miss one.
Yeah.
I shot right over her back. I thought it was a good shot.
I missed.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I had a set spot of where they were supposed to be or where they were supposed to walk. I think it was like 30 yards. Well, this doe was at 25, and I didn't even think to adjust my dial, and right over her back.
Yep. Scared the hell out of them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Thankfully, they survived. We got proof of life photos.
And thankfully, the misses caused no injuries.
Yes. Yeah. They perfect. Their hair, they're fine. They're running around the woods still. But it's one of the things, like, yes, even though seasons is here and our focus has changed from just target archery, having fun shooting tacks, to now actual bow hunting, that does not mean the practice stops.
Right.
I think it is very important to have a set of practice arrows and a set of hunting arrows.
That should be the same.
Yes.
They should be the same.
Same configuration, same weight, same everything. Even if you wanted to go as far as having a practice set of broadheads, so you can tune your broadheads. You're going to go through your target a little faster. However, it'll get you where you need to be. It is super important, and it's something that it took me this year to realize, like, I got to continue even during this. So now I've made it part of my regimen to every day shoot at least 10 to 15 arrows before I finish my day out, so I can continue that practice.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Yes, I agree. I think we get complacent with, like you said, main focus is now shifted from like tack shooting every day to be ready to now the being ready part is here. Yeah. So now it's no longer the forefront, it's now the back thought, and the forefront is now chasing the big bucks or the does or whatever you have to shoot. And like Cameron was saying, that can cause you to not think things all the way through or maybe overthink a step. So it is important to continue to practice, continue to shoot. If you have spare time, I have a phone target in the bed of my truck. I know Cameron does too. Yep. So before you walk out into the woods to go hunt, sling a couple arrows. Like Cameron said, have a set of practice arrows in the back of the truck. Just throw them down, make sure you're all squared away. I noticed the other day, matter of fact, on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, Saturday morning, I had a problem with my peep sight. I could not get it to get right. Every time I drew back as a test shot, my peep was twisted, and I could not get it. And I was starting to panic because I was like, it's about that time in the morning where Bruiser is starting to walk through, which hopefully if we kill Bruiser, you'll see the video of him. And I'm like, man, it's getting close. Like, he's been on camera like 9 o'clock, 9:30. Well, it's 8:45, and I'm testing a drawback. And my peep sight's screwed up. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna piss me off if he comes through here, but he didn't. Because like Cameron said, they do not like daylight. So yeah, keep practicing. Don't stop. There's never enough. And buck fever is real. I have had only one buck daylight on me in the tree. It was a little 8-point. And I, because we were, like I said, this was probably a week ago at this point. We were a month in. I was ready to take a shot.
Yep.
I hadn't killed a deer yet. He was a pretty little 8. And I drew back. Well, he never gave me a good angle. He was he was quartered away from his rear to his front, walking away from me after walking to me. And it just took me that long to get the draw back because he was just focused on me the whole time, because I did not belong in the woods that he'd been through many times.
You were a weird shaped tree.
I was, and we made eye contact, which I've learned, squint your eyes. They can't see your eyes, they don't think
you're real.
And he just did not give me a shot that I was comfortable at shooting, and I watched him walk away, and he moseyed off, and instantly. And I haven't had the shakes like that since I was a cop, and I've had to pull my own firearm on someone. Because it's an adrenaline dump. It's not something that you can necessarily control. It's things that you can be prepared for, but
it's like trauma. Like
it's a body's natural response to a critical incident, and that's what it is. When you're about to take a life, whether God forbid a human life or an animal's life, that is a critical incident, and your body finds a way to prepare yourself to do something that you normally do not do. That's why a lot of guys, former special operators, SWAT guys, they do things that are risky because it gets that blood flow and they want that adrenaline dump. And I've been there, and
this is the funny thing. I got those too.
Yep.
This year, besides the deer I killed last year, this year, and I want to preface it by saying I am brand new to archery. Last year was my first year ever holding a bow, ever shooting a bow, ever trying to take a life with a bow when it comes to an animal.
I've got a couple of years under my belt. Me in Washington.
This is my second year. I've already done exponentially better last year,
which is expected.
Because we practice so much. However, I'm still going to get that fever. I'm still going to get those jitters. I'm still going to get that rush. And everything I say, like John always says, it's raining mud and it's raining outside. Take everything we say with a grain of salt. However, we're going to be transparent with you, and this is what we are learning.
And with like what Cameron's saying too, it's going to be a learning curve no matter where we work. Like even though I used to bow hunt in Washington a little bit.
John out.
Hey, close the door.
Hey, what are you doing?
Sorry, kiddo. Even though I've hunted in Washington before, it's completely different than here. Even though I grew up here, things have changed. Where we hunt now has changed.
No longer ag fields and mountaintops.
We used to hunt on a giant open field on a farmland that was on top of a ridge that was completely wide open. That's not the case anymore. Now I can't pull a penny out of my pocket and not hit a tree.
What was my first shot? I don't think I've taken a shot at a deer over 25 yards. Every deer that I've killed has been
even urban
10 yards in.
And if you're like us and you have, well, not so much you because you switched, but me, I have a single pin, so I have to compensate for that. If I'm not practicing that and if I forget that, case in point, I didn't account for that 5-yard difference from 30 yards to 25 yards shooting at that doe where I shot over her back. Those things will happen. You'll miss, or you'll hit the deer in a spot that you don't necessarily want to hit the deer, or elk, or whatever the animal is. So you have to be willing to adjust and make sure you know, like if I'm at 20 yards and this buck for me is at 15, I need to aim a little bit lower to compensate for that arc and that arrow. Not by much. It doesn't have to be drastic, you know what I mean? But you have to be ready. That's kind of what we're saying. Don't get complacent, like Cameron said earlier. Keep practicing, keep shooting.
The hunt doesn't stop just because deer aren't out.
No.
The hunt's always inside yourself. You gotta find it.
And the hunt is always going because you're trying to find ways not to give yourself up. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in the tree and I'll look at my phone for a second. There's 2 does standing right in front of me. They're 20 yards away. Never had an idea they were there. Because they're quiet. They're quiet animals because they have to be. Because they really have no other way to defend themselves other than just being quiet and not being seen. And God made them that way for a reason. That's why their fur patterns change from spring, summer to fall, winter. They get darker, so they match the timber. They match, their elements.
I'm pretty sure I've stared like 6 deer. Didn't even know they were deer. Until I saw their tail move.
But the moment you move away, you shouldn't. And that's it. It's a done deal. They've already seen you, and they're already turning around, walking the other way. And I've seen deer in that instance where I didn't see them until I saw their tails, the white tails, and they were walking away. And I'm like,
I guess the main thing I'm saying is like, as much experience, practice, and everything we do to get ready for the season, we're still amateurs, and we will always be amateurs. And taking that back to my jiu-jitsu roots is I'm always going to have the mind of a white belt, which means I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to be hungry for that knowledge.
And every animal is different too. Even if, like Cameron's saying, even though he's learning, if all we ever did was primarily hunt whitetail bucks, every buck is different. Every buck is going to do, and that's the thing. Like we use all next, we watch the map, we watch the weather, we drop pins, we do this, we do that. Every deer is going to act different every day. Like yes, they have patterns. Yes, deer are pattern animals. They do things out of habit. However, those habits change.
I call bullshit, man.
Well,
and you pattern one, and then all of a sudden
it's like, different. And that's based on a lot of things. And there's a lot of variables when it comes to deer hunting. And deer hunting in general is very hard. Bow hunting is even harder because you have to be closer, you have to be more intimate, especially for these dense woods of West Virginia where you go 20 yards one direction, you're going off a cliff. Or you go 30 yards another direction, it might open up, and you go 40 yards another direction, and you can't even see what you're shooting through. And that's just how it is. And God forbid you shoot one on top of the hill and they run down the hill, because good luck getting them back up.
I think I've only had one not run downhill.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what it is. They can't just die right there when you shoot them. But no, every deer Cameron has shot has run 600 yards downhill, and it's at almost 90-degree incline. But yeah, don't get complacent, stay proactive, stay shooting. It's been a fun season so far. It really has. Even though I haven't killed anything yet, and God hasn't presented me the opportunity, just being out there every day is still a lot of fun. And I'm learning about myself too. I'm learning deer hunting. I have a child with autism. My child has autism, very high functioning. However, I've learned patience. Deer hunting has taught me a lot more patience, so it's made that easier for me and him. Learning that patience, and don't get discouraged, because deer hunting, especially whitetails, and I can't speak on every other animal, is very, very patience draining, and you can get discouraged very easily. But that one instance can change everything. Like how many times last week, 2 weeks ago, did I have that massive 10 point that if I had just been in the woods at 9 o'clock, boom, there it was.
Usually about like when we're working.
When we're at work. And that's the thing too, deer know the pressure. They know when you're there, they know when you're not. They can feel it. And that's the science.
I'm starting to become that firm believer in like scent control matters to an extent. They know when you're there. Like even like that's something else that we can make a video about, is like the difference between like an urban deer and like just a normal public land.
Two completely different things.
Like everybody's like, oh, urban deer must be fucking easy. In reality,
sometimes it is.
However, those mature ones, they know better. They know when that human scent is somewhere it shouldn't be.
They know. Especially when but I'd say the closer to the house you are, the safer you are when it comes to urban. But it's from just this season on, you can tell urban hunting and just regular in the woods, they are not the same thing. They are not the same deer. Yes, they probably taste the same, maybe different, but as far as the way they patterns, the way they act, no. I mean, I don't know if it was on episode 2 or if it's on episode 3 that's coming out. Cameron shot a doe, and mind you, we want the bucks. Trust me, we want the trophies. We want the massive, the big guys. However, they have to present themselves, and they haven't yet.
There's just so many damn does.
And there's so many does that Cameron has to get rid of, because that's what the city ordinance requires him to do. But he shot a doe. We're field dressing her, and a doe is watching us field dress the deer he just shot like 20 minutes prior.
Just looking at us.
Just staring at us. And I told him, I said, if you stood up right now and drew an arrow, you could probably shoot this other doe. And that's why urban hunting is not the same as regular, deep in the woods, deep in your forest, hunting deer. But it's been a lot of fun so far. It is.
So coming up, we have Ohio.
We do. We're going to Ohio. Yep. Excited about that.
For 2 weeks.
We gotta get a sleeping bag.
Same. We gotta get camping stuff. So if you guys know any good hunting spots in the Wayne National Forest, drop them below.
That's where we're going.
We'll be hanging out there.
We're going to Eastern Ohio.
Come say hi. And yes, we understand that there wasn't.
Do not come say hi to me while I'm standing in a tree. I do not have time for a conversation while I'm up there.
We do understand there's an EHD breakout in that area.
We've already talked to Ohio's DNR.
Yeah, we talked to the DNR. They gave us some ideas of what the population looks like, and it's still super healthy. So
and where EHD over there is seen the worst.
Yeah.
Where it's at the worst.
Yeah. So we're going to stay away from those areas, and then we're going to go right towards where the population, where the DNR says they're doing okay.
Yep. Worst case scenario, we don't shoot anything. We just have a really good time in Ohio.
Yeah. So a different state, something else to learn.
Yeah. All right. So something near and dear to my heart, Mothman Defense. It's something that I've toyed with for
a year now.
Yeah. Which, by the way, congratulations to Mothman Outdoors.
Yeah.
It's a year since we started our channel. Thank you guys again for all the subscribers. We're over 1,000 now.
And remember, when we hit 5,000, we're giving away some Sitka gear.
We're giving away a bunch of stuff for the rest of the time we do this, so that's why you got this up. But anyway, Mothman Defense. I am a former law enforcement officer. We both have a military background. I have a very big love for the 2A community. I am currently building a recce rifle, recon rifle, whatever you want to call it. Have a CQB SBR that is very, very similar to what I ran on patrol. I'm going to be building some sniper rifles. However, we decided to create a separate channel just for the fact that a lot of you might not, which we know, bow hunting, guns, for the most part, they kind of just all go together.
Yep.
However, if you strictly follow Mothman Outdoors just for the bow hunting, that's what you're into. You don't really care for the guns. We didn't want to force it on you.
Yeah.
But if you're into that type of stuff, you want to see how we run and gun, we're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff. Kit build outs, what we truck guns, which I'm not a really big firm believer in that. And there's a reason for that, which we'll get onto that channel.
On that video.
Yeah. And that solely would come from my time as a cop and why I think some things are beneficial, some things aren't. It's going to be a lot of fun. But like I said, we didn't want to force that on anybody if that's not something you're into, and then every time you click on our channel you get the notification there's a new video, it's a gun. So we're going to separate the two. However, when me and Cameron first started talking about Mothman, the whole idea, the whole goal of this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, was for us one day to have our own pro shop. I was going to run the firearm side because that's my first passion. Cameron was going to run the bow pro shop because this is his first passion. However, we both love the opposite just as much. I like firearms a little bit more. However, the same thing that we've always said, we hunt with a bow because we're not necessarily at a point to where we have to kill an animal to survive. So we wanted to make it as fair for the animal as possible. And
because we're not a bitch.
There's just something more intimate about bow hunting. You have to get close. You have to defeat that animal's senses. And like the other day when that buck showed up under me, even though he didn't present me a shot, I won the day. I won that hunt because I defeated him and he walked right under me. And if I would have seen him sooner, it might have been a different story. So that's why we primarily bow hunt. Archery's a good release for us. PTSD, Navy stuff, police stuff. But yeah, we're still tax stuff. Been mad at a lot of tax. But yeah, no, the firearm community for me, I love running and gunning. I love tinkering with stuff. I love the IR lasers, night vision.
So you will, and that's one thing, you will see John more on that channel than you see me. That's more his passion. If you have archery questions, that's where I've built the bows. I've handled that. I've done all the stuff on the bows. So like bow questions, I'm the guy. Gun questions, 100%, that's John.
Did a little work with some really cool people. I was blessed enough to have a lieutenant at my department. I was a sheriff's deputy in Washington State who is really into, I've done some courses that I should pay for. That's where a lot of my firearms knowledge comes from, because if you don't know, or if you were in the Navy, if you weren't special warfare, your gun time was very limited to sidearm and shotgun.
The only reason I have more than what I should is because when I went to the Marine Corps.
You were stationed with Marines as a sailor. So most of my most of my firearms experience, 90% of it comes from my time on patrol, weapons manipulations, build outs, carried. I was blessed enough to run with a department that allowed red dots, lasers, night vision, especially for as small as we were. I think we only had 60 total cops. So I was blessed to work with some really cool people who understood the importance of those types of things, and the transfer of knowledge came to me. So this is another release for me.
Yep.
And Cameron too, on days where bow hunting might just be too much, or if I just want to break.
Yep.
The firearm stuff is still there. And like I said, it always comes back to what me and him originally wanted to do, which was open our own shop. Firearms on one side, bow stuff on the other. This is how we do that.
And yes, just because we bow hunt, I always daily carry. I have my concealed carry license. John has his.
Yep.
I carry with me everywhere I go.
And we're blessed in a state that you don't need it.
Yeah.
So you can conceal carry without a license here.
But we'll talk more about that on what we carry in the other side of the house.
Right. Yep. Agreed. So if you're interested in that, here's the channel. Here's our logo for Mothman Defense. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got today. Don't get complacent.
Yeah, we'll see you in the woods.
Keep practicing. Don't miss.